All right, so welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're taking on the Jenny.
Oh, the Jenny.
Yeah. A schooner, supposedly frozen, with its crew still on board. We've got quite a mix here. Historical accounts, blog posts, even a YouTube video.
It's always fascinating, how these stories just capture people's imagination.
Absolutely. So, the question is,
Yeah.
how much of this is actually true? We're going to try to unpack this whole legend, scrutinize the evidence, really see what we can uncover about the Jenny. So we'll start way back.
1,000 solid.
With their last log entry, a haunting message.
Right.
Dated January 17th, 1823.
Those reprints are interesting, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it shows even back then how a story in a popular newspaper could really take hold. You know? Regardless of its veracity.
Right.
It's almost like an early version of something going viral.
Exactly. But what about the Jenny Buttress on King George Island? It's named in 1960,
Right.
It's a real place named after the ship.
Right.
So doesn't that kind of lend some weight to the story?
Well, it's tempting to think so, right?
Yeah.
But, naming a geographical feature doesn't always confirm the events behind it.
Right.
It reflects often more of the cultural impact of a story.
Yeah.
How it's kind of embedded in our collective memory.
Yeah.
More than like hard historical fact.
Right.
Think about, places named after mythical creatures.
Oh, yeah?
Or legendary figures. Doesn't prove they existed, right?
Right. Good point. Okay, so we've got a spooky story that made the news, ended up on a map even. But what about, real evidence?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where things get a bit murky. When you dig into the historical records, there's no actual proof that the Jenny or its voyage ever existed.
So this whole frozen ship thing could be completely made up.
Yeah, potentially.
That's wild. Plus, the YouTube source mentions a log entry from May 4th.
Oh, really?
Which contradicts the January date from the newspaper article.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
See, those inconsistencies, they're a red flag.
Right.
Makes you wonder how much the story might have changed over time.
Yeah.
Passed from person to person.
Right, like a game of telephone.
Exactly.
And speaking of changing stories, some research from Cambridge University suggests that the Jenny legend might have originated from an anonymous crew member of the Hope, the ship that supposedly discovered it.
Right. That's fascinating.
Why would a sailor make up a tale like that?
Well, think about life at sea back then, long voyages, harsh conditions, ample time for storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
And sailors were known for spinning yarns.
Right.
Sharing tales, supernatural, unexplained.
Yeah.
So it's possible this story, whether intended as, entertainment or maybe even a way to cope with the anxieties of seafaring, just took on a life of its own.
That makes sense. It's interesting to think about, the historical context here.
Yeah.
Did sailors back then have any particular beliefs or superstitions?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, the vastness of the ocean,
Right.
the unpredictability, always inspired awe and fear.
Yeah.
So you have this rich tradition of maritime myths and legends.
Yeah.
Stories of ghost ships, sea monsters, cursed voyages.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They were common.
Yeah.
Served as both entertainment and these kind of cautionary tales.
Yeah.
For those who ventured out to sea.
Right.
So it's possible that the Jenny legend tapped into these existing anxieties and beliefs, resonated with sailors and then eventually spread beyond the realm of seafaring tales.
So even if it's not true, it tells us something
Yeah.
about the mindset
That's illuminating.
sailors at the time and how they perceive the ocean. But even without hard evidence, the story is pretty captivating.
Oh, yeah.
Those chilling details really stick with you.
They do.
It reminds me of Rosemary Dobson's poem, The Ship of Ice, from 1948. It paints this beautiful yet eerie picture of the Jenny frozen in time. She even adds 20 years to the ship's icy imprisonment.
Dobson's poem is like a perfect example of how art can just breathe new life into a legend,
Yeah.
I mean, that image of the Jenny as a ship caught in a bottle, becalmed in time and sealed with a cork of ice.
Wow.
It's so evocative.
It is.
It cements the ship in our cultural imagination, regardless of historical accuracy.
It makes you wonder, why are stories like this about ghost ships, frozen crews, so compelling?
Yeah.
Even when we know they might be made up.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps it's the thrill of the unknown.
Yeah.
Or that stark reminder of nature's power.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just, good old-fashioned morbid curiosity.
I think it's a combination of all those things.
Probably.
It's a story that really plays on our deepest fears and fascinations.
Right.
But to get a clearer picture, maybe we should compare the Jenny to a confirmed ghost ship.
Okay, yeah.
Like the Mary Celeste.
Right.
That might help us kind of distinguish between legend and documented reality.
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mary Celeste offers a fascinating counterpoint.
Right.
Unlike the Jenny's unverifiable narrative, the Mary Celeste story is firmly anchored in historical records.
Okay, so the Mary Celeste, built in Canada in 1861, and then found adrift and crewless in 1872.
That's right.
Right, and there were even official investigations and court proceedings, which is a far cry from the Jenny's case.
Precisely. And unlike the Jenny, which vanished from history, the Mary Celeste continued to sail for years after its crew mysteriously disappeared.
So we have these two ships, one shrouded in myth, the other a documented mystery.
Exactly.
It makes you think about how easy it is to create a compelling story when you're not limited by evidence or facts.
That's a really insightful point. I mean, we can let our imaginations run wild.
Yeah.
But the Kaz second forces us to confront the limitations of our knowledge and the possibility that some mysteries might never be solved.
Right. So after examining all this information, have we reached a verdict on the Jenny's authenticity? Is it a true story? Or just
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Well, we can't say with absolute certainty that the Jenny never existed.
Right.
The lack of concrete evidence and those inconsistencies across the sources point strongly toward it being a maritime myth.
Yeah.
A story that has captured imaginations for centuries.
Right.
Even without a basis in reality.
So it might not be a true story.
Yes.
But that doesn't make it any less fascinating.
Not at all.
Right. There's something about the image of this frozen ship lost to time that speaks to our sense of wonder, the mysteries of the sea.
Absolutely. And it's in those spaces where history blends with imagination that we find some of the most enduring and thought-provoking narratives.
Right.
The Jenny story, even if fictional, reminds us of our fascination with the unknown, our desire to make sense of the world, even in the face of uncertainty.
Before we wrap things up, let's revisit Rosemary Dogson's poem.
Okay.
The Ships of Ice.
Yeah.
It really adds another layer.
It does.
To the Jenny legend.
It does.
Wouldn't you say?
Definitely does. Dobson's poem really captures the essence of the Jenny story.
Right.
Even while adding her own artistic interpretation and stretching the timeline a bit.
It's like the poem breathes new life into the legend.
Yeah, it does.
Making it even more captivating. And it makes you wonder why these kinds of stories about ghost ships, frozen crews
resonate so deeply with us.
Yeah.
Even when we suspect they might be entirely made up.
That's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
Perhaps it's the thrill of the unknown.
Yeah.
The reminder of nature's immense power.
Right.
Or maybe even a touch of morbid curiosity that we humans often have.
It's probably a mix of all those things. It's a story that plays on our deepest fears and fascination.
Exactly. And it reminds us that the ocean is vast, mysterious, and full of stories waiting to be told.
Right.
Whether they're rooted in fact or spun from our imaginations.
Okay, so we've explored the legend, dissected the evidence, or lack thereof.
Right.
And considered the poem that immortalized the Jenny in verse.
Yeah.
But I still have one burning question.
Okay.
If the Jenny did exist, what do you think happened to its crew in those icy waters? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, and it's one that we may never have a definitive answer to.
Right.
But that's the beauty of stories like this.
Yeah.
They invite us to speculate.
Yeah.
To fill in the gaps with our own imaginations.
Right.
And to marvel
yeah.
at the enduring mysteries of the sea.
I love that. Even if the Jenny is just a figment of our collective imagination, it's a powerful reminder that the ocean is vast, mysterious, and full of stories waiting to be told.
Well said.
Yes.
And on that note, we invite you, our listener, to explore the sources we've provided.
Yeah.
To draw your own conclusions about the legend of the Jenny.
Right.
And to always approach historical narratives with a curious mind and a healthy dose of skepticism.
The Jenny's story, though likely a fabrication, reminds us of the power of storytelling.
It does.
Especially when it comes to the vast, mysterious ocean.
Absolutely.
Whether rooted in fact or fiction.
Yeah.
These tales spark our curiosity,
they do.
Ignite our imaginations, and remind us of the enduring power of the sea and the stories it holds.
Beautifully put. And who knows? Maybe someday some new piece of evidence will surface, shedding light on the Jenny's true fate.
Right.
Until then, the legend lives on. A testament to the enduring power of mystery and the allure of the sea.
Until next time. Keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep questioning.
Absolutely.
Keep diving deep.
Keep diving.
One of the most chilling details I came across is the supposed pose of the Jenny's captain. One blog post describes him clutching a pen, frozen in the act, writing his final log entry.
It's like a snapshot of despair.
It is. It's powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
And it shows how even small details, whether true or fabricated, can really make a story more compelling. They appeal to our emotions.
Right.
Make it feel more real and relatable.
But then another blog post mentions the pen being frozen in his hand, which contradicts the first account.
Yeah. Makes you wonder how much of what we read is embellishment or artistic license.
Exactly. Even the date of that final log entry is inconsistent across different sources.
It is. It's a reminder to always consider the source and be wary of details that seem designed to heighten the drama.
Right. So it almost makes you think there wasn't a real logbook at all.
Right.
And that it was added to make the story more tragic.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Speaking of maritime mysteries, the YouTube video we have also mentions the Kaz the Sec. Oh, right.
This case, unlike the Jenny, is very real.
Right.
And a lot more recent.
Okay.
The Kaz II was found adrift off the coast of Australia in 2007.
Okay.
Everything was in perfect order. Except for one thing. No crew.
It's a truly unsettling case.
It is.
I mean, the engine was running.
Right.
A laptop was open.
Right.
A meal was set out as if the crew had just vanished into thin air.
It's like something out of a Twilight Zone episode.
It really is.
And despite a thorough investigation, including footage from a video camera found on board, the fate of those three men remains a mystery.
The coroner's report suggests a possible scenario involving a man overboard situation, and then a sudden change in wind.
Right.
But it still leaves a lot of unanswered questions.
It does. It's a stark reminder that even with modern technology,
the sea can still hold its secrets close. Comparing the Kaz II to the Jenny highlights how much easier it is to create a compelling story when you're not limited by evidence or facts.
That's a really insightful point.
Yeah.
With the Jenny, we can let our imaginations run wild.
Right.
But the Kaz II forces us to confront the limitations of our knowledge.
Right.
And the possibility that some mysteries might never be solved.
Right. So after examining all this information, have we reached a verdict on the Jenny's authenticity? Is it a true story or just a clever fabrication?
While we can't say with absolute certainty that the Jenny never existed, the lack of concrete evidence and the inconsistencies across the sources point strongly toward it being a maritime myth.
Yeah.
A story that has captured imaginations for centuries.
Yeah.
Even without a basis in reality.
So it might not be a true story, but that doesn't make it any less fascinating.
Right.
Not at all.
There's something about the image of this frozen ship lost to time that speaks to our sense of wonder and the mysteries of the sea.
Absolutely. And it's in those spaces where history blends with imagination that we find some of the most enduring and thought-provoking narratives. The Jenny story, even if fictional, reminds us of our fascination with the unknown and our desire to make sense of the world, even in the face of uncertainty.
Before we wrap things up, let's revisit Rosemary Dobson's poem, The Ship of Ice. It really adds another layer to the Jenny legend, wouldn't you say?
Definitely does. Dobson's poem really captures the essence of the Jenny story.
Even while adding her own artistic interpretation and stretching the timeline a bit.
It's like the poem breathes new life into the legend.
It does.
Making it even more captivating. Makes you wonder why these kinds of stories about ghost ships, frozen crews, resonate so deeply with us, even when we suspect they might be entirely made up.
That's a question worth pondering. Perhaps it's the thrill of the unknown. The reminder of nature's immense power, or maybe even a touch of morbid curiosity that we humans often have.
It's probably a mix of all those things.
It is.
It's a story that plays on our deepest fears and fascinations.
Exactly. And it reminds us that the ocean is vast, mysterious, and full of stories waiting to be told. Whether they're rooted in fact or spun from our imaginations.
It's amazing how we started with what seemed like a simple ghost story and ended up having this much richer conversation about history, storytelling, the mysteries of the sea.
It's a great example of why we do these deep dives. It's not about having all the answers. It's about exploring different perspectives. Questioning assumptions, appreciating the complexity of historical narratives.
And in this case, we've learned that even a fictional story can reveal some fascinating truths about the human experience. Like the anxieties of sailors back in the 19th century or our enduring fascination with the unknown.
Absolutely. The Jenny, whether real or imagined, serves as a powerful reminder of the allure of the sea and the stories it inspires. Stories that, in turn, shape our understanding of the world and our place within it.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
So to our listener, we encourage you to keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning. And keep diving deep into whatever subjects spark your curiosity.
That's right.
Who knows? What fascinating insights you might uncover.
And remember, whether you're reading historical accounts, blog posts, even watching YouTube videos, always approach the information with a critical eye and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Until next time.